What about the April Fool's joke when the Space Needle supposedly fell down? How'd that go over?
Well, you know, it's funny because that had April 1st.
You guys remember that?
It taught me a lot. It was an amazing thing that we decided we just happened to have a live show that was on April 1st, and so well, let's do an April Fool's Day prank, and we did it on the air, and it was in the early days of computer animation, and so we made it. You know, it was a thing called a paint box. That was the name of the machine. And it was, you know, nowadays it looked very crude, but at the time it looked fairly realistic. Yeah. And people, you know, it said April Fools on it because the program director said we have to do that. And Myra's, well, why even do it if we have to put that, you know? And so, no, you got to do that. And so we did, but it created this furor, this panic in Seattle, so much so that it shut down the 911 line, that everybody called in and it shut it down, so that people who were having a real emergency,
almost Live's own War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was.
Even though it said April Fool's on it.
Even though, yes, and people from Eastern Washington.
Yeah, but Grandma and Grandpa who happen to be tuning in, they're not reading the flashing thing. They don't know what's going on.
No. And
Charlie, the needle just fell.
Yeah, it was like that, and not only that, medical personnel from Eastern Washington drove over to help out. So a lot of really pissed off people. But by the time, and the Space Needle was furious. But by the time that we aired again, as a week went by, it became news all over the world.
Oh, it was huge. Yeah.
And so the Space Needle suddenly had gotten all this publicity, and they weren't as mad. The next time we were on the air,
not quite as mad.
They weren't mad. Everybody just like, wow, but you know, and all the other news stations and our news department was pissed off and everything.
So the episode aired on a Saturday, obviously. At what point was it? You know, Sunday morning? Was it by? At what point did you realize this has gotten out of control?
Well, it happened right away.
It was immediate.
Okay. The weird thing was that I had to go. I was hosting the Seattle International Comedy Competition, like the LAPA. I was the host, and so as soon as the show was over, I got right into a cab and went to the Paramount. So I didn't know what was going on, but the rest of the cast was left to deal with it. I didn't know. It was before the days of cell phones.
Right.
I didn't have a cell phone, so nobody could call me. So it wasn't until I got home that it was like, what happened? I was like, what? And then all these messages, and I was like, what? And then, you know, the Seattle Times the next day, and all this, and I was like, oh my God, you know, and I went in. But the thing is that I got in so much trouble that your brain sort of does this thing where it doesn't let you think about it, you know, and King never aired it after that, and you know, you get older and you start second guessing yourself, and you start, you know, like, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, and you get more conservative. And I was talking to a group of high school kids this last April, just April 1st. I just happened to be there speaking, and I started telling them about that, and I realized something, that it was like, wait a minute, you know, I'm this old guy now who, like, is really cautious, and I'm really kind of, you know, get scared of a lot of stuff, and I'm, you know, just really reticent to do stuff. But there was one time when I was strong enough that I could push over the space needle.
Damn the ramifications.
Yeah, screw that, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting down to the end of our time with you, but just maybe a couple more questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you think, well, of all the people that you've had roll through Almost Live, amazing talents, you know, Mikhail, and you had, of course, Pat Cashman and Nancy Guppy, and all of those. Can you give us kind of a rundown, just briefly, of, you know, because some of them we don't know where they went, like Stanton and all those guys. What are the people doing now?
Well, Bob, like I said, is a screenwriter. He's he's had meetings with Steven Spielberg. He's worked, you know, I mean, he's just.
Did he invite you?
Do all these great. No. He'd come speak to my script writing class. Stanton does corporate speaking, in which he has this at first I was skeptical, but he's got this surprisingly effective thing about, if you look at the Beatles, how the Beatles ran their organization. that if you run your business the way the Beatles, and I was like, I was kind of skeptical, but I saw him do the presentation once, and it's very, very good. And he goes all around the country and all around the world presenting that thing. He's a huge Beatles fan, and he came up with this corporate strategy. Ross is doing, is a corporate speaker. Tracy speaks about heart issues and supports the defibrillator. Have a defibrillator in every business. Nancy's got her show on the Seattle channel. Yeah, Joel McHale's a big star.
Yeah, that is, to me, that's. I mean, he does a great job, but if I were to, lay cash down at the time, I would have never put it on Joel.
Well, at first I thought, well, Ross is going to be the biggest star that ever came out. Look at this. Then it's going to be, what do you know? Bill Nye is the biggest star that's ever going to be, and then then I thought maybe me. At a certain point,
John Keister, yeah.
And then no, it was the intern from Mercer Island. it was the
you launched a megastar,
right? The intern from Mercer Island, So and then Bob actually, you don't see his name, but you're gonna. His movies are about to come out, in another year or so, and within the business, he's very well known. So,
right.
Like
do you think? Because I kind of alluded to it earlier. Seattle has changed a lot since those days.
Yeah.
If you go from West Seattle to Ballard, you go over to Magnolia, you go to Fremont. It's almost the same place.
Yeah,
it seems we lost.
It is pretty much.
Even the north, and a lot of places, even in the Northwest, we've lost some of that. The identity we had back then of being kind of quirky. Capitol Hill was definitely in its zone of its own.
Yeah.
But it seems like everything's sort of just leveled out and become this corporate mirror of each other.
That's correct. Yes.
Do you think Almost Live could be on air right now? Is there enough? Do you think there's enough material?
Well, first of all, it is.
Well, it is in reruns, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I DVR it every weekend, but as a fresh running show.
No, it could not. The city's different, but I mean, it's the television business is completely different than it was in those days, and they would never hire people and pay and give benefits to people locally to do a show like that. And I'm frankly amazed that evening is still on the air. Yeah. But no, there were laws in place that limited how many TV stations anybody could own. At that time it was 4. Now you can own thousands, and so they're owned by just a few major corporations, and all of them run the same stuff, and there's no local shows like that.
And I think I'm even more talking on the content level. Like, is there enough around here going on to sustain a show?
As long as you have good writers, you can always
do it. Yeah, because the mayor of Seattle with his bike buddies and all that stuff, and
a lot of material.
Yeah, there's
tons of material.
And I often
Kent is still Kent.
Kent's still rolling.
And Renton is.
But and this is how solidified Almost Live has become in my life. When something crazy happens, I still to this day wonder how Almost Live would have tackled that.
Are you kidding me?
No, I say that all the time.
Remember the Enum Cloth thing?
Oh, sure. I mean, I was
like, we could have had a whole new character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When that went on, I was just, oh god.
Are you ever just like, oh man?
Oh yeah, all the time. Sure, with this
is just too good.
Tunnel stuff, and sure, the Enum Cloth stuff, all that stuff. Sure.
How about a DVD set? We talked to Cashman about it, and he said that they're there. It's just, I think his take was there was some issues with the music rights or something. Well, what's the status on a possible DVD set of Almost Live?
No. They've got a website that they post. They post all our stuff. They're not doing a DVD. And
who owns it?
King.
King owns it, and they don't want to put it out.
No.
It would make them so much money.
They don't care.
It's insane.
It's not what they do. That isn't what they do. It's just not the business they're in, and they don't care.
That is, maybe PBS can buy it, and you can do big marathons.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I can see Keister in there. Call in now with your $1,000 pledge, and we're going to send you every episode.
There you go.
That would be awesome. We'll get on that. We're gonna make the call.
We'll let you know, John.
Thank you.
So you don't think it's ever really? I mean, we have to watch. I mean, there's a lot on YouTube.
I get asked all the time.
I know you do.
No.
No, man, that is a shame.
It's all over. Pretty much every sketch you want's on the internet. You can.
Right,
see
but
it.
there's something about watching the opening
Okay,
sequence.
I don't know how many times. It's not gonna happen.
Speaking of the opening sequences, you had some. There were some classic ones, you know. And I have my favorite, but you guys did several openings because you had several seasons. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, by far the one that was filmed at the Weathered Wall, where the camera, is on
follows people
99,
around.
and yeah. I thought that, and then it ends up with me stage diving. That
Keister.
No, that one I think was.
That was your favorite?
Absolutely, by far the best.
I love that one too. I also loved the one where you had all of the sort of quirkiness of Seattle, where you had the remember the crazy divers who used to be down on Alki.
That was a very good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great because it really sort of solidified. Hey, we are Northwest. But the one that and my second would be that one at the Weathered Wall because you're coming down the viaduct to start it off, and the Weathered Wall. That was another great place that's like gone away.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, tell everybody really quickly what you're doing now.
Well, I work at the Art Institute as I teach script writing, and then I write scripts for a show that's on PBS called Biz Kids, which is on all over the country.
Yes.
300 plus markets, and it teaches kids. It's the same producers as the Bill Nye the Science Guy show, but instead of science, we're teaching financial literacy. And I'm at clubs here and there, and in October I'm going to be in Yakima hosting. I've got this great gig. It's all the Humane Society people from all over the state of Washington are coming, and the co-host Betty White.
Wow!
I know. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow, that'll be great.
Yeah.
That'll be something special. I can't thank you enough for coming in. In all of our minds and in all of our listeners, and I know just throughout the Northwest, you've reached legendary status. When the Hall of Fame is put up, you're going to be in it, along with the cast of Almost Live. There's no doubt about it.
All right.
John Keister has been our guest today. We want to thank you so much, John, and we're all still pulling for a reunion.
Okay, thank you very much.